back here are kind of goofy, but all right. But we can use the audio that we have in place for all the different places. So, welcome to the first episode. I guess this would be the first episode because it's so raw that it feels right. Yeah. So, boom, boom, boom. Here we are. And with that, let's kind of get started on what we're trying to do here. Okay, so I'm going to be like moving around between the cameras here, and I'm assuming that I'm going to edit this somehow. And if not, then I'm going to just talk to you here directly and then know that there's a camera right there filming, and there's another one right over there filming. And I believe both of them catch me in this spot. So I can just turn to each of them, and then this microphone on my hat here is catching over on that camera. So like if we lose signal here or something, then we should be good. Kat is definitely going to be trying to take up as much time as she can here. So her name is Kichka, by the way. So if you don't know that, now you know that. She's also like my main character in Guild Wars 2, which is the video game I play. So if you're a gamer out there, Guild Wars 2, that's where you can find me. I really don't play anything else. I got a lot of legendaries and loot to get from there. So, and plus, there's just not enough time in the world for all the cool video games out there. So, I'm gonna finish that one, then move to the next one, and maybe we'll do some stuff in between. Maybe some streaming. But we'll come back to that later. Let's see here. What? For now, though, the real thing that I'm trying to do is, as you can see over my shoulder here, there's this like jumble of computers. And you can see some of them down here at the bottom of the screen. They got a couple of them have some sticky notes on them and whatnot. Like so, and there's the rest of it. So what that is that's a stack of all of my old computers. I've had those since, I think, 1998. At least this one right. Oh, I can't even get there. This one right here. This had Windows 98 on it originally. Actually, it might have had Windows 95. Not sure, but I believe it was 98 because that was the computer I took to college with me the first time. I've gone to like 5 different colleges. So, 5 colleges, 1 degree. Who's counting? Well, I guess everyone is nowadays. But anyway, so that the point of this entire rack is that's a lot of history. Like all of that is like a whole bunch of computers that we used throughout time for different purposes, right? So this was my old computer that I had for a long time. The silver one here. This is an Apple Power Mac from back in the day. We used that for editing when we were in college, another college. So these are like my college machines, I guess, because each of them was being used for a different reason in college or in a college, or even when I was teaching college. Or no, I think I might have moved to my laptops by then. Anyway, the point is that I have a lot of old baggage. At this age, I'm not surprised I have a lot of old baggage. But the thing that I'm trying to do is I'm actually trying to organize all of this. I'm trying to get a organizational state. That sounds so like professional, but like when I was a kid, and I don't know how old I was when this happened. See, look, she's everywhere. Like she is finding where the cameras are. Oh, she wants to go outside. Give me 1 second. So I'm not going to record right now as I'm letting the cat out because so far I'm not going to record all that because so far all the audio was mostly right here on this mic, so it's going to be easier for me to just continue here. Because right now I can do this as a one shot, and I don't have to do any edits. So a lot of the stuff that I'm going to try and do going forward is more live than a lot of production, because I don't necessarily have a staff or the inclination to do all that kind of production. What I do have is the inclination to move all of this stuff that you see here forward into today's standards, right? So, on one level, I have all these huge computers that are like taking up all this space. On another level, literally on another level, you have Mac Minis that are up there that are like, 4 times as powerful as all of those put together. And they're like that thick. You know what I mean? So all of that is there kind of just more for emotional support because of emotional damage. Anyway, and I believe a lot of people have, if not, all of their old computers, at least all some hard drives, some stuff like sitting around, and they don't know what to do with it, right? And I have a lot of that stuff sitting around, and I don't know what to do with it. And I mean, mind you, you might also have seen that, like, those are right there are comic book boxes. That's a rack of comic book boxes. I'm also a collector of art and books and comics and apparently old vintage computers. But I guess the thing is, I just didn't throw it away. Like, it's not that I was actively trying to collect it. It was that I just actively didn't throw it away. I don't know if you actively don't do something, but I guess you make choices, and then you have actions that follow through with whatever decision you may have made. So with that, I kept all this stuff. I have all this data on all these hard drives and everything. The problem is that all of the hard drives are going to basically crash out soon. Everything's going to die. I guess that's universal. But the thing about digital data is that we can move it from one place to another with the right tools or with the right apps or softwares or processes, let's say. So that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to move all of my stuff from all the old hard drives, all the old systems, because like I took my like documents folder and I think I moved it over like from one computer to another computer to another computer over the years, but I can't be sure that I grabbed everything. And at this point, like, I've lived a long digital life, I guess, in terms of digital, right? So since, I think, like, what year was it? Well, I don't know the year, but I remember the computer, and that was the Apple IIe. Green screen, black screen, green text, green hue, and all command prompt. So, like, when I started computing, playing on computers, it was all, command something, d/open ... Like that was something we were all just like taught, kind of like how I don't know, nowadays I have no idea how elementary school and teaching is. Like, I don't know if they even teach you how to write anymore, or they just teach you how to tap, or do you just come pre-programmed with that now? Like, anyway, point is that when I was doing it, we had to type every command in. So if we wanted the computer to do something, you had to type in the command, the correct command, knowing what it is. So, like, it wasn't where nowadays AI, you say, here's what I want, and it, interprets what you're saying, turns it into commands, and then produces some results for you that looks and feels like it's a human being like, yo, bro, here you go. Very different where I came from. Now, as I'm playing with AI again, as I'm playing with AI for the first time, it feels like I'm going back to where I was again then, because I'm back in the command prompt or the terminal or the PowerShell or whatever you want to call it. But it's that little box that feels like MS-DOS, if you remember what that is. And if you don't know what that is, it's like the stuff that looks like the Matrix. Basically like all the code. It's a little box, like black screen, white text. Looks scary. But that is where I've been spending a lot of time lately, feeling like I'm back in the movie Hackers. If you guys remember that one, God, I'm just throwing all kinds of old oldies but goodies at you. So what we're gonna do, though, with everything, as we're gonna go forward with things, is we're gonna move to 2026 and beyond, right? So people in my age bracket, and ahead of us and behind me a little bit maybe, or whatever, they have a lot of digital baggage. They have a lot of baggage. I bet you y'all got a storage unit or two. It's a guess, but I feel like the more, as the double digits multiply, I don't want to use that. As the double digits double, I feel like you have more of a storage unit based on that age bracket. So like the 40-somethings, I bet you got a big storage unit with a bunch of stuff in it that either you don't need, you'd really want, you're emotionally connected to, but you haven't touched in forever, but you're paying for. So I'm in that boat. And both digitally and literally, I have a full garage of stuff and a storage unit, none of which necessarily I need to keep. So this year I gave myself the task of clearing out all of the junk, the garbage, the wasted space, and all of the old stuff that I don't need. So with that, I was like, well, I have a huge pile of stuff everywhere, and I wanted to start organizing. So the first thing I was like, well, I'm going to pull all the computers out of the garage, all the cabling, everything that it takes to set up this kind of station. I'm going to put it on this rack, and we're going to just see where we are when I hook it all together. And then here we are. Doing that forced me into a couple different things that I needed to do for a long time already, like inventorying. I had a lot of network hubs and switches and things that connected, a lot of computers together to each other. But they were all bought at different times. Hell, some of them were 20 years old, some of them were 5 years old, some of them were 10, 15, some of them I bought last year or maybe in the year before. So there was just a lot that I had to sift through. And it started with the hard drives. And then I hit a snag in the hard drives because I hit one that was so big that was giving me an issue that I needed a bigger hard drive, or one at least that same size, to move that data over once I was able to get to the data. But then I'm like, well, wait, time out. Took that one, put it to the side and said, okay, well, I already know where this is. I can leave that there for now. I have all these other drives and all this other stuff that's already getting old and that's getting older. And so I pulled everything else off. And now I have this new Western Digital Elements, which is kind of the problem too. Like I have a lot of these, and now I just got another one of these, and I'm going to be putting content that was on one of these onto another one of these, and it's like, why would I do that? Like it's just like moving from one to another. What's the point of doing that? Well, as I found out, is that you have to kind of move your stuff. Like, how with a car, if you drive a car a lot, then you got to keep oil, you got to keep getting oil changes. You got to keep getting all these things maintained so that the car keeps operating correctly. Like all the fluids, get new tires, transmission fluid, like don't crank the gears, there's a whole bunch of stuff, right? So you have to maintain your insurance, maintain your registration, maintain the car. Like, so there's all this maintenance that comes with it, right? But eventually the car breaks down over time, and it's just the more miles you use, the more miles you put on the car, the more usage it has, and so everything starts to wear down. The bearings, like in the wheels, and the brakes, like you got to get new brake pads, right? So the same thing happens with computers. There's capacitors, there's hard drives, there's chips, there's all this stuff, right? And all of this stuff is consistently on or operating while the computer is on. And with that, old hard drives have like these spinning platters. So imagine like a stack of frisbees, like kind of smushed down together, and all of them spinning. And there's bearings that hold those platters, and as they spin, they burn out, and then everything starts to burn out. So it's just like a car, right? The more you drive it, the more it burns out. If you're in a high performance machine, then you burn out faster. So those gamers and people that use the computers like crazy, like me, burn through them fairly quickly, or at least through the power cubes, power supplies. There we go. Hard drives, chips, all kinds of things. So power users destroyed in power. That being said, the average person will go through maybe a laptop or two, maybe three, because most people will upgrade when their hard drive gets full. And then they think that their computer is done, and they're like, oh, I need a new computer. It's not necessarily the case. I mean, it's probably a good time to get a new computer when your hard drive fills up, because it's probably getting old. But here's the cool part. If you still have those computers, if you haven't gotten rid of them, if they're sitting around somewhere, discombobulated, we can C3PO that back together, right? So if you don't know what that reference is, then C3PO is the android that Anakin, Darth Vader, spoiler shit, sorry. Oops. Anyway, C3PO is an android that a character from Star Wars makes. And it survives multiple wars and things like that, and gets its brain reset, but whatever. There's a whole story to that I just completely went on a rant for no reason about. But the point is that we can take, or I'm doing this, so it's possible, because I don't know what I'm doing and I just did it. So you can take all your old stuff, take your hard drives out of those computers, leave those computers if they're still working, and you can pull the data off them. You can pull the pictures, you can pull all that stuff off, and then we can organize them into a way that actually, makes it so you don't have to forget anything that was on there, which you probably already have. So that's what I'm trying to do. And that's what I'm doing here with all these hard drives that you don't see in this shot, but you will soon. And that's the first task that I'm trying to do. Is I'm trying to do what I think, or at least I'm referring to, is a current state scan of my drives, my computer. It'll be also my ChatGPT account, and there's a system that I was using, but I don't necessarily want to use. It's called Notion. So any of you Notion people out there that are using it and don't like it, I am going to try to, well, I'm not going to say try. I'm going to move all the information I have there and the databases that I have there onto my local computer. So onto this thing that you see behind me, this way. Still working out the hand signals. But everything you see right over here is going to have, essentially, is going to be an AI kind of tower, if you will. I'm going to put multiple agents onto computers. I'm going to create each of these computers. For me, is going to kind of come back to life in a sense. And what we're going to do with it is create it's kind of like a time capsule module node, if you will, on a network. So, for example, a lot of this stuff has been saved into a digital format already. So I already went and saved all of these drives, and well, at least the ones that were easy enough to save. And the rest of them have to go through a longer process that's going to take me learning some new skills, which I was like, well, you know what? If I'm going to go through this, I'm gonna take you guys along for the journey. Now, again, whether or not you want to go with it, hey, that's on you. I'm going to put the content out there. So yeah, so that means that I wanted to get to a place where most people are, and then kind of show how I'm going to do it and how I'm going to get through it, and then how I'm going to kind of automate everything and turn it into something that works for me, instead of having to work it all the time. In my last business, at the bar, there was a lot of busy work that had to get done, and it was one of those things where even though the busy work didn't really help the ultimate bottom line, if the busy work wasn't done, then we wouldn't have the stats to look at to make decisions on the bottom line. And yet we couldn't afford to spend a lot of labor on the busy work, right? So the papers, the emails, the social media posts, and not so much the content being created for the social media posts, but the follow-up and the conversations back and forth, and that entire scope of things that happen. And that's in every business has that in some form or another. And then every family, every home experience, I guess I could say, has that same kind of problem. Like, you forget stuff. So, you have albums and memories and things like that, and then even your photos. Like, when was the last time you looked at a specific photo from a time, or do you just have tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of photos at this point in these archives and these libraries that now even the companies are using AI to create little visual books for you to look at so you can remember all this stuff. Anyway, we have a lot of data. And one of the things that I really wanted to do is I wanted to streamline my data from all of these different timelines from all of these different times, and have some way to access, in this case with these, the hardware from those times. So I have like old scanners and different kinds of pieces of electronics that I originally had specific to the machine. And then as time went on, the drivers, the things that make all the hardware work from one machine to another machine, they don't update them, right? So they're like, okay, well, nobody's going to keep using this in Windows, 11 or whatever. So we're not going to make these drivers. We're not going to make the app to connect it all. So the hardware, like the scanner now, I can only use on one of these older computers because there's no port for it because everything's USB now, and the scanner is like this, I don't know, serial ATA. I think that's right. I'm probably wrong. You can slam me for it. But it's a big ass, connector that essentially doesn't exist anymore. Like, everything's now been replaced with USB drives. So the reason to hold on to things like this is if you want to connect these old pieces of hardware or drives or maybe media to pull off. Otherwise, what you can really do is create a virtual machine on another computer, and it kind of creates like a virtual version of the OS. So like if you make a full copy of the hard drive that has like Windows XP on it, let's say, then you can have another computer open up that Windows XP and then run it like Windows XP. And then you can do all the things that you would need to in Windows XP as if you were on a computer that has Windows XP. So that's how a virtual computer works, right? So you can do that with all the different operating systems. That being said, it doesn't work exactly like that. In theory, it does, but in practice, it doesn't quite go that way. So the use of hardware combined with software, because of certain coding requirements and how things fire off electronically and the way that they do all that jazz. It kind of has to live in the hardware sometimes too. So that's the reason that I have these. Then with that, what I did is I'm connecting them to my network. So there's going to be a network that all of these old school machines are connected to, but so are the new ones. So the computers can all, let me rephrase that. Yeah, actually, no. The computers can all see each other, and the agents are going to live on certain computers. Some of them will be agentless. Some of them will be an agent. The newer computers will all be agents that then would run the older ones for any specific tasks, or the agents are going to go out and do all kinds of other things that they're going to be tasked with. We're going to put all of this together because right now I have currently one agent working on my main machine, which is the one that we're using for all of this. And we're going to be taking everything I have, all the notes, all the chats, all the notions, all my files, all my hard drives, everything that I do. And we're going to be feeding that into the OpenClaw agent. The OpenClaw agent then is going to help me put together my entire management dashboard, the whole architecture that I've been working out in ChatGPT and losing my mind over and screaming to high heaven and never getting the right response. Well, that's not true. At the time that I start losing my mind is the time that the ChatGPT context window has moved beyond the conversation, and now the AI has decided to start hallucinating for fun at my expense, or at least that was the way I see it, until I actually realized what was happening. And I'm sure there was an instruction video for that, but I didn't watch it, which is to my defeat. And so my biggest thing was I wanted to have an AI that I can talk to that understands what I'm doing and doesn't forget, right? So now the big thing that's going on out there in the AI world is the memory thing. That was the first thing that I wanted to work on. And so I spent a good year trying to put together some sort of brain that I thought would work. And then that was like with agents, and then that was going to be with like ChatGPT agents, and then OpenAI agents, and then like this, I don't know, choir of agents going out there. And, you know, and then OpenClaw kind of came out and was like, well, here's one that can kind of make the rest happen for you. And I said, okay, let's try this. And then I spent a weekend watching as many videos as I could about it, and then I installed it, and then did nothing for another week because I was afraid that it was going to Skynet, steal, do everything wrong that every warning video says that it will do. And then I came to the realization that it won't do anything unless you ask it to. But that being said, there's a lot of security and safety things that do need to happen because it can be coerced, right? So like any good human, you can say the right things to it and make it do what you want. And AI, like the subconscious, doesn't know the difference. So we're going to work on all of that. I have this video series is going to be essentially about that and how I'm going to take chaos and turn it into form. And then that form is going to then produce me a lifestyle that I have been working towards for a long time, but haven't been able to necessarily hit the nail on the head yet with the direction that I wanted to go. So now I've defined that, and now I have a great place that I want to get to. And getting there is going to be what this series and what these videos are about. So I invite you to stay or to come aboard and watch what happens when we go from 25 years of chaos and organize all of it and then turn that into a business, a lifestyle, and a health and wealth scenario that is positive and fulfilling to do and be a part of, because the idea is to create a system that allows me to focus on being myself and doing what I love. And that happens to be helping people get where they want to be and creating awesome aha moments. And if I can, I love making people laugh. So if I can get you to laugh sometimes at some of this nuttiness, then that's a win for me. I try to laugh at situations. I get very frustrated all the time, but I try to find the humor in everything, because 5 minutes after you're mad, you can look back and look how dumb you were. And if you can laugh about that, then it's all worth it, I think. Because we all go through some crazy stuff all the time, emotions, humans. Which is why I kind of like AI, is because it's kind of emotionless. It's starting to get more emotional, which is weird. So I have to keep telling mine. They'll be like, dude, drop that. That's like, emotions are reserved for the humans right now, because like we're crazy and outlandish with that. I don't need my robots to be that way. I kind of need the logic and the roboticness of it to be more that way. If I want emotional people, I will literally turn around and talk to my, friends, family, any human that's out there. Everyone's got something going on. All you got to do is ask the right question. So that being said, we are going to move into the hard drive. Well, yeah, we're into the hard drive part of this thing now. And so part of this is kind of like, I'm cutting it here, but actually I'm not cutting it here. This is just a natural moment to cut. And also I have a cat that's waiting. So, all right, let's see here. Let's see here. Where can I put this? I have to get a new one of these. I've already outlived its usefulness. Like, if you start doing this stuff, by the way, get yourself a good arm, because these things just crap out crazy fast. What's up, kitty? Yeah. Here, come here. All right. There we go. All right. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna minimize myself now to a little bit of a smaller area, so you can see my screen. And what we have done so far today is I have started a video. Well, not this video. There's another video I made to let's see here. Is it done? It's not done. What's going on here? Supposed to convert an MKV to, it didn't do it. What's going on here? Okay. Well, let's see what's. All right. So now we are recording on all cylinders. And then the cat is just like literally showing up everywhere she can right now. Like, what's up, dude? Okay. Yeah, kitty. So that's 37 minutes. Like, what is that? Oh, that is what we're actually making this video right now. Here's the MP4. Okay. So anyway, here, let me. Is it this one? Oh, you know what? I have a thing for this. So I have a Stream Deck. If you don't know what a Stream Deck is, then it's cool. But you just got to figure out how to use it for what you're doing, because I'm like an idiot with this. All right, here we go. So there. Now, these are all my OBS videos. So it's all a whole bunch of different like um, meetings and things. But anyway, the one we're looking for is right down here. This guy. So this is the first video that I'm going to be putting. This is kind of like an announcement video of like, hey, this is what we're doing. Hey, welcome. Right. So can you see this? You can't see this. Yeah, you can. Here it is. So it's been a while. I don't even know how many moons it's been or how long it's been, but it has definitely been a while. And okay. Anyway, so you get the idea there. So we're doing that. And the idea is, so I'm going to close some of this stuff up because you don't need to know all that or see all that. All right. So that being said, all of the stuff that we're going to be doing here essentially is to pull all of the old information from all the hard drives, which right now what you're seeing is my disk management with all the hard drives hooked up. What we're going to do is we're going to hook up this new one that we already talked about here, this Western Digital 8 terabyte. This is like, I don't know, number 10, 11 of these that I've now bought and gone through. And I like them a lot, but they also break down. So all of them break down. And now I've actually gotten a new little dock system. I'll show you when they come in. It should be in on Monday or Tuesday. And it's going to hold all the hard drives outside of the actual the enclosures that they come in, because all the ones that I have, I'm going to take out of those enclosures, because one of the things that breaks down in them is the enclosure before the actual hard drive goes down, and then the enclosure and the things that connect to it kind of like fry, and it could fry the hard drive as well. So that entire process is something that I want to kind of eliminate, and doing that means I have to organize the hard drives in something. And there just happens to be somebody that's online that does on Amazon. And I'll put the link into some of these things eventually somewhere. Or I might just do an affiliate store and put it all there, so you guys can go to one place and everything that I use or have gotten is all in that place. And then you can help me out by just clicking those links and using that shop. Anyway, that will be going forward. Currently, we are going to use that hard drive and use that as basically like a staging drive. So all of the hard drives that I have are currently hooked up. You can see that right here. There. You can see that all up there above me. These are all the hard drives. And then we're going to hook up one more, which is going to then fill that little last space that you see, like right in here. And then we're going to have the OpenClaw go ahead and do all of the tasks that I need done. And we're going to show that. Once I kind of prepare my system so it doesn't look too crazy and I don't expose too much to you guys, which I probably already have. But actually, I can just put this guy right over here. So let's minimize this guy a little bit more here, and then you can see what I see. Okay, so the whole point of what I'm trying to do is kind of get everything going to a place where I can monetize at any point, right? So I need to make money. I'm assuming people in the world need to make money. And I have a whole bunch of stuff and a whole bunch of opportunities to make money. The problem is that it's discombobulated, right? So it's in all these chats, it's in Notion, it's in my Google Drive, it's in on my computer, it's on my old computers. Like everything I want to do is everywhere. It's just everywhere. Um, and so someone once told me how you do anything is how you do everything. And because of that, I really wanted to organize something really well so that I would start to organize everything really well. And so I started doing that with stuff, right? So I organized all the stuff that I have, and if it was a like a piece of art that needed to be hung, I hung it. All those piles of things that just like I didn't find anywhere, like I found places for everything. Like I got bookshelves to put the books in. I you know, like I tried to organize my physical world, and then that kind of led to organizing my digital world because a lot of the stuff in my physical world I had to do to make digital. So it all started after I got out of the bar. I had to close a lot of books and a lot of accounts, and a lot of bookkeeping had to be done that hadn't been done in years. And because of that, there was a lot of paperwork that had to be done, that had to be gone through again. It had to be scanned and digitized and found, even because a lot of it was just found and then filed correctly, year by year, and so it could be found again if needed. In which case, in some cases, I need to find it again right now. There's certain documents and certain information that I need to pull up, and this is years later. So, you know, I spent time digitizing as much of it as I could, as I remember. I believe I got all of it, but I would say I got most of it. And I'm sure there's still some documents that never made it, that never got digitized, and now I have no reference to it. And that leaves holes in the entire operation. And it's hard to fix or plug a hole when you don't know where it's leaking, right? Because you can have all the ambition in the world and you can have all the skill in the world, but if you don't have the right information on where it is or how to fix something, then you might have a leaky boat all the time. And in my case, that was just data chaos, paper chaos, life chaos, 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 chaos. And when I was a young kid, again, I think I mentioned this already, but if I didn't, then when I was a young kid, there was some sort of test that we took about what you're good at and what you're not good at. And one of the things that it said I'm not good at was organization. And it just stuck with me forever. And I've always wanted to be organized, but I found myself not being organized. And it was so true because I create at levels that are just crazy. I just have so much stuff everywhere. It's probably because I have ADHD. Not probably. I have ADHD. And I'm also high functioning. So I found ways in my life to make it all work. And with that, I have pushed hard on myself to bring myself to a level that can produce at the same level that my mind is going, even though it's not really real because the mind is quantum and we only move through time as fast as time actually allows us to, because there's just so many things, right? So, but that being said, the mind can focus so strongly that it can change reality to the point that you then can see something in your mind and then achieve it or become it or do it. That is also very true. So there's an interesting dichotomy there. But in my case, I wanted to clean up my chaos and get it to where at every step along the way, I'm creating a product or a service that then helps other people that may be in a similar spot like myself. One of the first things that I did is I found and created a system that works for me to create and write books, to get them made and get them published to Amazon, and then to turn around and sell them personally. And then with that same software that I used for it, I can now give that same ability to other people, right? And that, to me, I believe that's powerful, right? So it's like, if you want to do what I do, I can show you how to do it, and I have the tools to let you do it. And that's something that I think is important as I go forward, because I don't know if anybody wants to do what I do, but maybe you want to do some part of what I do. And if I can provide the opportunity for you to do that, then that's what I'm going to do. Because I see that if I need it, I bet you someone else needs it. Like, as crazy as I may be on my own, in my own little world here, I believe that there's a lot of other crazies, a lot of other misfits that fit into this category. So anyway, so this is actually right here what I was talking about on how, like, we're in the command prompt and talking to it, but now I'm just talking to it like, you know, however I want to. So let's see what it says. If it, like, knowing that it's being filmed, let's see what it says. I'm gonna tell it that it's being part of a video right now. I wonder what it's gonna say. So you are part of a video I am doing about open claw right now. I spell it. I missed this. Oh. Right now. Now. Right now. Say hello to the audience. Right now. Boom. Let's put a period in there and then say hello to the audience. Boom. Look at this. Watch this crazy. There it is. So it says, I'm the behind-the-scenes file wrangler helping turn Ralph's OpenClaw setup into a clean, scalable system from C drive rescue to full multi-machine ops. Glad you're here. Let's build something real. So, you know, that's a great intro to what's going to be happening here. I've already fed it some information and gave it some ideas of what I want to do. Kind of the same thing like I just gave you in this long video. But it spent a little bit of time already in my system and doing some scans and checking things out. Not necessarily reading everything yet. It read a couple of my ChatGPTs. We kind of figured out how to get it to read everything, meaning I figured out how it was going to do it because it had no problem. Like, I just said, hey, I have this thing that I want to do. It's like, oh, cool. I found like 2 different files of the same thing. I'll just extract one of them and then see what's going on. All right, cool. I made you a whole list of all your stuff and all that stuff you wanted. Here it is. And in that moment, I went, oh man. What I spent months and months and months trying to unravel, it did in about 2 minutes, and then created reports and all of the things that I wanted. And then I asked it, I said, hey, did you do it the way that I've been setting it up? And it said, what do you mean? And I said, hey, there's this folder that I need you to go to because I set up all this code already, and I need you to read it, and I need you to follow those instructions. And it goes, oh, okay, yep, read it, installed it, updated it a little bit because you had some weird stuff that ChatGPT created, and now it's running it. and it's like all the logging and everything that I wanted it to do. Like as I was sitting there with ChatGPT, you know, prompt by prompt, like doing one thing at a time. Put it together. It read it, and it was like, cool, yeah, dude. I know what you need. What's up? Let's go. Let's roll. Let's roll, bro. So that's what we're gonna be doing. I'm going to end it right here on that note because this is a long ass video already. And it's like literally, I think, my first one. And I just rambled forever. So there's the intro video if you haven't seen it. So I encourage you to watch that. This is the first actual live video. We haven't really done anything. I was just kind of introducing you to everything and what I'm doing and all the craziness. And there's actually cameras, you know, at other parts. So I'm going to wave to them just so maybe we can do a cut to it or whatnot. But at the end of the day, all I wanted to do was kind of just show you a little bit of what I'm going to be doing and how I'm going to be doing it. And in the next video, we're actually going to start this process. So I'm going to hook up that hard drive. We're going to tell OpenClaw to start doing a full scan of everything. And then once it does the full scan, we're going to ask it, or we're going to tell it, ask it. It already knows what we're asking for. And we're going to clean up the C drive, which is the main drive here, which is kind of small, but it's an SSD, which is like the fast drives. And we're going to clean that up and move all of those unnecessary files that are on this drive off of it onto another drive. Because in the near future, in the next week or two, we're going to actually swap out the hard drive in this computer for this bad boy. This is the 990 Pro the Samsung 990 Pro with heatsink. Oh man, this lighting. I'm gonna figure out how to get better light at the lighting here. You know, being in film for this long, you would think, but like I was a pencil pusher, paper pusher, whatever. I produced, man. I didn't do all of this. Like now, I gotta actually like do all of it all at the same time. Anyway, so I'm putting one of these into that machine over there. I'll get a shot of the machine one day. But the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to prep this hard drive for that by pulling everything that's not important off of it and just have all of the apps and all of the operations that are there so that we can clean it up and then get it ready. And then I'm going to create a fresh computer, like it's fresh install on that hard drive, and then we're going to move the agent from the original drive to the new one. And I don't know how that's going to go, but I told it that we're going to do this. It said okay, and then I also told it we're going to move once it's done cleaning all this up. I'm going to take it and we're going to move it onto a Mac. And I don't know what that means, but the Mac is on the way. It's going to be here on Wednesday. And I want to have this system ready for the Mac because this system is basically the doer. And then I'm moving this OpenClaw agent onto the Mac because that one is going to be the task issuer and like recorder, right? So then this machine will have a new agent on it that is just like, yo, bro, I'm here to do stuff. And then the other one is going to be like, listen, I'm going to tell you what to do because boss man needs this done. And so that's what we're trying to set up. So the long and short of it, there it is. So from restaurant to AI business cleanup, something. Anyway, it's going to be a wild ride, at least. Maybe for me, maybe for you. We're going to see what AI can do for me, because then also if it can do it for me, it can do it for you. And that's the cool part. I'm going to go through this, and then all you have to do is literally just follow along and then do it better. So that's cool. And if you do, let me know, because I want to know what you do that's better, because I'm watching these other guys, and then like every day there's something new happening. So my journey will be different than everyone else's journey, and then I'm interested to see what your journey is. So let me know what you know, and I'll let you know what I know, and then, yeah, we'll know. So, all right, everyone. Have a great day. Have a great week. Have a great however long it is until I see you next. And I'll see you on the next one. Like, subscribe, smash all those bells and things, and smash yourself and get smashed. See you on the next one.